Hello and welcome to chapter 185 of the DC Alliance podcast. With me, as always, is Joe. Joe, how you doing today?
I'm doing good. How are you, Travis?
I'm doing well.
Been busy. Obviously, we both had a busy week. We were talking
Yeah,
about that offline. Um, but yeah, no, I'm looking forward to some upcoming stuff. We are super close to Blue Beetle. We got some information we'll talk about here today.
hmm
But yeah, I need to swing by a couple of an Owlies to see if they have any Blue Beetle comics for a giveaway. Otherwise, I may just give away some of the randoms that I have over here.
I have a nice Kingdom Come book, absolutely like a
Ooh.
nice one that I think I'm going to throw in for the giveaway. So maybe we'll just do that one. That's the one book for Blue Beetle. I know it doesn't have Blue Beetle in it, but it's a pretty badass.
Yeah.
Wait,
Wait.
just
Oh, so
feel it for a
Travis is
second.
gonna go live. We're doing it live. He's gonna go grab the Kingdom Come book. Um, I'm assuming that's what he's grabbing. I don't know. Yeah. So all I have is like Forever Evil. Maybe I'll just throw that one up. I don't know. We'll see. We'll figure it out. I was doing live commentary. You grabbing the book?
So
Oh
this will
snap!
probably be what we do for the giveaway this week.
Dude, is that the Eagle Moss?
Yeah.
Oh, see, those are ones that I've always thought about grabbing, but
Thanks, Andrew.
because because they've got the spine has like a picture on it that if you get them all, it all connects. Like
Yes.
I'm a sucker for that. Okay.
Joe, I've seen that. Like it's come out in marketplace every once in a while, a different book. I'm like, another picture to connect. Like this is such I don't know. Wait,
And there's a little bit of a shine. Oh, Magog.
yeah,
Oh,
this is a
here's
thick book too. So
my because that's probably both Kingdom Come and the Kingdom, and probably a couple of the one shots.
yeah,
If I'm being honest,
you are 100% right.
nice.
Yeah,
Um, the thing about Kingdom Come, no, not thing about Kingdom Come. The thing about those Eagle Moss collections is that it's not in chronological order, and
hmm
that was what tears me up. Like
Oh
I'm
yeah,
like
it's
you can't
brutal.
do like it's either chronological order or spine order, and I can't have both, and I hate that. So that's why I'm not even attempting to get those.
Oh, I
But
looked at how many there was, and I was like, "This is a futile, like,
there's
thing to try to
a
collect them
lot.
all." But any
I
ones that
had
I think are cool, I'm gonna pick up, and sometimes I'll give them away here. Like there was two of these, so I decided why not grab one for myself and then pick up one to give away sometime. So we'll do that for the Blue Beetle giveaway. The week before, the week of, and the week after to
yes,
qualify.
similar to
Again,
what we did before. It's
just just be
if
in the
if
chat.
you yep. Similar to how Andrew is here in the chat for a split second. He says I can't watch live tonight, but he's want to pop in and say hi. So hi, Andrew.
And he said, "I'll watch the
Hopefully
replay."
we live up to your expectations.
Said I watch
Yep.
replay tonight. Yeah, so we have some fun stuff to talk about tonight, Joe. Not a lot of news, but I think a surprisingly controversial episode of my Adventures with Superman. I don't know why people are getting a little angry about it. It kind of
Interesting.
worked
I haven't seen
perfectly for
any
me. Well, I'll bring that
backlash,
to
so we'll
you
get into it.
when we get into it, and
Yeah.
we have some Blue Beetle stuff to lead off. But before we do all that, of course, I have to get the network plugs out of the way. I'm contractually obligated to get this done. So we are part of the Geek Ultimate Alliance with 8 shows in total. On Mondays is Ranger Alliance, and that rotates bi-weekly with Slice of Film. On Tuesdays is DC Alliance. On Wednesdays is the Animation Nation. On Thursdays is Star Wars Alliance. On Fridays is Marvel Alliance. On Saturdays, bi-weekly is a walk through the multiverse. And Sundays monthly is World's Finest True Believers. DC Alliance goes live on the Geekverse YouTube channel. Mondays at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. Star Wars Alliance goes live Wednesdays at 8 p.m. Eastern Time, and Marvel Alliance goes live Thursdays at 9 p.m. Eastern Time. All three of those shows also have their own podcast feeds. Search Marvel Alliance, DC Alliance, or Star Wars Alliance if you just want Marvel content, DC content, or Star Wars content only. But if you want all 8 shows on the GUA Podcast Network, stay subscribed to the GUA on your podcast app of choice. We also have a Patreon, 2 tiers, a $1 tier and a $5 tier. The $1 tier is basically a tip jar, like what we're doing. You want to help us out any way you can. And the $5 tier is where you get your extras. You get your ad-free episodes, early access to episodes, and Patreon exclusive episodes. Myself and Joe are going through the DC films through the years. I want to say a couple days ago, Saturday maybe or Friday. I can't remember the day. I messaged you now, Joe, to let you know. But
Yes. Friday or
the
Saturday. That's one of the
the
two.
the Batman and Robin Patreon review is up for the patrons now. That was a fun discussion talking about a very campy but fun
Entertaining
movie.
movie.
Yes,
Yes.
yes. And we're going through all the DC films through the year, so stick with us as we cover all of those. We have Marvel Alliance guys, Chris and Brent, doing their Infinity Saga rewatch, so stick with them as they cover the entirety of the Infinity Saga. We have Clay going through shows for the first time, Katie going through comics with her husband Matt, and we have Joe's Multiverse Minutes. We thank everyone that's a patron. If you're not a patron, if you can take a quick 30 to 60 seconds, rate and review the podcast on your podcast app of choice, it's always greatly appreciated. It helps other people find the show, and that's always a good thing. Okay, Joe, I just thought as I was reading today, we're potentially talking about switching a day or two. I'm like, that's going to blow my brain up because I've had this
You will.
burned in there for,
Yeah.
I'm just kidding. Actually, you can remember new phone numbers. Joe, we have a Blue Beetle centric start off here. So we're going
Yes.
to dive right in with I don't know why this was as big a deal as it was, but Zack Snyder has tweeted out some support for Blue Beetle, Joe. It was out of
Weird.
nowhere, especially like he didn't even tweet like "Go see the Flash" and Ezra's in the Flash. It's like that's what I found a little funny about all this. Is like, where was the "I'm going to go see Flash"? Everyone go see Flash. I guess
I
when Tom Cruise tweeted about it, he's like, "Yeah, I don't. We don't need to bring him in for this one."
It may have been along the lines of, yes, he wanted to support the Flash because it was his creation for that universe, but maybe because of all the controversy behind it, and the fact that Twitter and those people tend to eat up everything he says and like take it wrong.
It's like there's
So
literally two weird factions. There's one faction that he's the devil and everything he says is terrible, and there's another faction that everything he says is 100% right, and there's never any
see,
other
I,
person. I like to sit in a
I'm
sweet middle ground, like you.
yes, I'm part of that faction that just like, oh, awesome, he's excited for a movie.
Yes,
Cool.
and I do enjoy that he's saying like the thing that he said was looking forward to taking my kids to see Blue Beetle. Representation matters, Blue Beetle, which
Yep.
that is stuff that if you know anything like from the Zack Snyder's Justice League, they made him take out the John Stewart character, and he would not. He had to put another person of color in there. He didn't want to remove a person of color part and not have
No,
anyone in there to replace it. Like he's
really
big
wish
on
you would have
replace.
John Stewart, but I
You can
get,
see from some of his
yeah.
cast, he's big on that. I just like how it did kind of get a little bit of groundswell for Blue Beetle. Like my timeline yesterday was all about Blue Beetle,
Good.
so that was nice to see. And you and I are both really excited for this film. I did like that James Gunn retweeted it as well, and obviously you had the crazy people saying
This is
Snyderverse and Netflix confirmed.
why would you think that? What who how do you get from A to Netflix? Like that's not happening.
I know one
It's
thing
not
I've
gonna
always was
happen.
hard to understand what crazy does and crazy thinks, and
Well, what really bugs me is the fact that these people don't understand that these characters are licensed characters
yeah.
owned by WB. They're not giving them up for 2 more movies on a different streaming service.
Also, show
It's
me how
not
you're
gonna
not
happen.
show me how you're not a true comic fan because nobody has a character forever. They always put them down and someone else picks them up and starts, and eventually you find a new run that you love. Like
Exactly.
like
100%. But
and
nope, nope.
nope.
Snyderverse happening. This is confirmation.
I love how the same people took it, which was nice. Like the director for Blue Beetle responded uh, to this. He has a private Twitter account essentially, and he was like, "Thanks, teacher.
Smart.
Thanks for the kind gesture. As a fan of your movies and an admirer of yours since you were doing commercials, you have no idea how much this gesture means to me and the culture. We have a pending appointment on August 18th with you and your family here for you." So I just like I said, I really like uh, when people try to promote this. He has no stone in this race, no executive producer credit, no
No,
nothing. So like,
that's a movie he is legitimately excited to see,
and
like the rest of us.
David
Unlike David.
says, I have high hopes for the Blue Beetle and hope it succeeds. So do us all, David, because
Yeah.
DC's been taking some hits lately, Joe, in my opinion, and it is tough on the brand to keep having BAM after BAM. I know people are talking about DCU, wait till DCU, but I think you need some success going into that, but just for the general audience, because most of the people that even I talk to, I know I scoffed at Brent from Marvel Alliance when he said this. He said this to me. My God, this was a while ago now, but that people associate Marvel with good and DC with bad, the general audience people. But I do have a lot of people that, when I've talked to them in the last 2-3 months, have said that exact thing when talking about
I'll say
they
he's
don't
not
understand where DC's going right now or where DC is. But when they hear DC, they're like,
correct.
when they hear Marvel movie, they're like, oh, so
But here's the fun thing about that, and it's no slight to Marvel Alliance. Their last project has been, I'm not even gonna say decisive. Almost everybody hated the ending of Secret Invasion.
mhm.
And then you roll it back a little bit, and not a lot of people, like, I wasn't a fan of Thor: Love and Thunder,
Oh my
which I
god, that
love the character
was
of Thor. I love Ragnarok, and I whatever. Like, I enjoyed Wakanda Forever, but I know it was supposed to be different. And I was just excited to see what they were going to do. There was some good, there was some bad. But back on DC's side, the last couple have not been great. Like,
we're
they've
talking.
had problems. They've been entertaining. We've enjoyed them. We've found good in them, but the general audience was like, "No, this was shit. Like, why do you
Yeah,
like this? This is dumb." Like, no, I understand. Black Adam tried to do something, tried to push the envelope on getting some characters in,
yeah,
and
yeah.
try to make a powerful character. Black Adam is a great character. The Rock did an amazing job as Black Adam for the most part. Um, sorry, I had to put that in there.
You did, you
Um,
did. You had to have that qualifier.
it, but like, you look at Shazam and Fury of the Gods. That, and we're going to be talking about that a little bit here in a bit. But like, that was fine. We enjoyed it, but the first one was better.
Mhm.
The first one had
Oh,
heart,
yes,
whereas
there
this
we go.
one, there was a lot of problems between Asher Angels acting as Billy Batson and Zachary Levi's acting as Billy Batson. It
It's
didn't
like
mesh
they
well.
didn't converse. It was like,
Correct.
Zachary Levi was assuming he was gonna play him as he did when he was in the first film, and
When he was
Asher Angel
16
is
or
like,
whatever.
assuming that his character had growth after the first adventure. But,
Yep.
I digress there. I am a little like I said, I'm optimistic for Blue Beetle. It has a low budget when you put in the marketing and what they've. I don't think it's that much at all. I just think that it was nice to see. I did see some people saying like, I'm going to film that. I got my tickets secured, going that, and there was a lot of people saying, why didn't you tell us this was an ad? You got to tell us this was an ad so that we know it's fake. And I blocked those people. Obviously, they were in the click block, but
Tell
they're
us
crazy
that.
people.
What?
Yeah, they're thinking that he's getting paid to do that, like, because he would never. Yeah, crazy, crazy, right? I'm like, how did you crazy
Okay,
people
fine,
slip
whatever.
my blacklist? But yeah,
I,
I really enjoy when I see directors and other people in Hollywood like trying to promote other people's films. Like, he has nothing in this race other than
yeah.
wanting to be that
Other
director
than the fact that
succeed.
he respects the director, respects the actors, respects the character, and wants it to succeed. And
Hmm.
again, we've talked about it numerous times. We already know that Shiloh and Blue Beetle, this iteration, is coming over to DCU.
Hmm.
Gunn has said that.
Yeah.
We don't know how, we don't know where, and that's why I hope this will succeed. I hope people will go see it and be like, "Hey, I enjoy this. I want to see more of him." But the problem is because of where it's sitting at, and
Yes.
because of the movies surrounding it, it's like, what's going on with it? Like,
It
and
should be in the
I've
new
I've
year.
talked
It
about this
should
in
be
the
in the new
past.
year.
Yeah, exactly. It should have been, but it's too
Yeah.
late now. You
Too
can't
late
move
now.
it.
No. It still has a good, but it does have a good window where it can make some money. So there is a chance for this to do well. I think that this could do better than the projections of like 27 to
God,
55
I hope
million.
so, because those projections have it really, really low.
Yeah, and that's not what I want to see. I want to see 50s or
But then
60s
again,
here, but
like like I said, I think I said this in the chat. I might have said this in a episode in the past. I've got a couple podcasting friends who both are excited to see this movie. One, he doesn't know when he's going to get a chance to see it in theaters, but the other is going to wait for Max. Like, he's already said, I want to see the movie, but I'm not going to see it in theaters,
yeah.
which hurts.
Yes, it does.
But I can't be like, hey, you need to go see this in theaters. It's
No,
going to
well,
help.
he's
Like,
also paying for a Max subscription, so you're like, I'm not going to tell you that
yeah,
you're taking your money to pay the Max subscription.
but
You're just going to wait for
also
it to
I have,
eventually end up on Max.
and I've seen that the Flash, the numbers for the streaming. Well, I mean, not it's not max yet, but
No.
for people buying it on streaming, is going up. Like people are actually
It's
watching
number
it
one
because
across all the video on demand
yeah,
platforms.
like they're not seeing it in theaters. They didn't have to go and spend all that money, but now they just spent $25 to get it at home. They can watch it anytime they want, and they're enjoying it. So like we're in the new time where theaters need to realize that they're not the be all end all for all these movies anymore.
And also, I'm in a time now where I had no handle on what is going to be a hit and what isn't anymore.
Yeah, exactly.
Like you told me, even after I watched the first trailer for Barbie, that was going to be insane. Like Joe, I think, not sure if I told you this off air or not, but we only have one theater here. I watched The Flash with one other person. I watched or a few other people, not a lot of people. I watched Shazam with nobody, like literally by myself. I went Wednesday afternoon to get Allison some popcorn. She likes theater popcorn. Sometimes I get it
Oh
for
yeah,
her to
no, all
go.
the time. I'd go in there, get popcorn, and leave.
Yeah,
All
that's
the
what I
time.
do. Get it to go. So I went in there and it was packed. There was going out through the door, pink clothes on. And I haven't seen that since Avengers, I believe. But for DC, I haven't seen that since The Dark Knight and The Dark Knight Rises, like those films. So
Okay.
it was wild to see just Barbie even be more like culturally with the GA. Maybe Joker. Well, Joker, I'm sure there was in theaters some people were dressing up like Joker, but it was just wild to see. Like it wasn't what I expected to see on a Wednesday.
Well, I mean, but Barbie's
afternoon.
a cultural like phenomenon. Like everybody had the Barbie. You know,
And it wasn't just
somebody,
all
even
girls.
if
It
it was a
was
Jake
like,
Barbie, yeah, like because young boys had Ken dolls,
yeah,
like, or really just GI Joes that were just Barbies and
yeah.
camouflage. But it's one of those things where Barbie it's no different than your mom saying that the PlayStation isn't Nintendo. Like it's a brand that gets named for every single system or every single character that everybody knows.
I'm probably going to clip this at this time too to show Allison, because Allison calls everything Nintendo. And thank you so much
See?
for saying thank you so much for saying your mom, because this is going to devastate her when I show her, because she's going to be like, what mom? So yeah, this is going to reinforce my making fun of Joe that I've done. So
Something that
thank you
if
so
you
much.
you're welcome. I'm just pointing out that if you don't know the nuances, you're gonna call the one thing the same thing for everything. So
Yes, that's 100% right. For I will say mixed martial arts. Most people say just UFC. That's what they think of. So there's other things out there.
yeah.
So yeah, that's the exact kind of thing for that.
That's why I think Barbie, it makes sense that people are gonna go see that because it's a cultural phenomenon. Whereas something like Blue Beetle, trying to bring it back to our notes, something like Blue Beetle, which the general audience doesn't really know anything about, we do because we're comic book fans.
Yeah.
They could be excited, but they're not going to be Barbie excited. They're not going to be Endgame excited.
But we'll take, like I said, if it made Shazam's 300 million, I think that would be a success. The first Shazam. So I'm hoping that it is
for Blue Beetle, yeah, because they only had like 130 something budget or something like that.
100 million.
They didn't have
Blue
a high
Beetle
budget.
was. I think it was after they
Was
pumped
it just
in.
100 million?
I think it was. I'm pretty
thought
sure
they pumped in 100 million.
I thought they pumped it up to
to
100
go to the
million.
movie, to go to the theaters. Okay.
I thought they pumped it
Either
up too,
way,
but
like,
either way, it's still, like I said, we want to see
it's still going to be lower than the rest of them. Yeah.
And we're really, I think we're both really looking forward to reviewing that. So before we get into, we got a little bit of Blue Beetle news, but before we get into that, we'll take our first ad break of the evening. Listeners, we're an ad-supported network. We don't pick the ads or the volume. I'm going to give you a quick 3 count to adjust your volume, and we'll be right back in 3, 2, 1. And we're back. Okay, Joe. We got a couple small little bit of Blue Beetle news, and then we're going to go into some DC news. First off is Zolo is talking about what it means to be the DCU's first Latin superhero. It feels immense and really great. I'm humbled to think that there is a superhero out there now that kind of looks like how I looked growing up. To think that there are potential kids out there that get to feel seen for the first time, not only by Jaime, but by the rest of the Reyes family, it's an absolute honor. So
I love that.
I love that too. I thought that was, and like, it really hits home a little bit more for our GUA members, because Clay's in the chat and he's really big on being represented here. He loves Blue Beetle and he's super excited for this film. So anytime I hear I just feel like that's music to Clay's ears for just getting the Jaime performance when he's hearing how much it means to this guy. And yeah, I
But
can't wait to see what he's
honestly,
going to do.
it's no different than when Chadwick Boseman took the reign for Black Adam, or I'm sorry,
100%.
Black Panther. Um, I mean, that's like that's the best example.
Yes. Well, the same thing,
You
the
got
big
to see
family
kids got to see themselves up there.
and you have the whole family, and here you have the same thing. You have the whole family, and all of them are played by like persons of color, and it's like, oh my god,
Yeah.
yes, and directed the same way. So yeah, I just
Yeah, it's gonna be that representation is important. Like Snyder said, representation matters.
yeah,
100%.
and if I didn't take like 7 hits in a row of box office predictions, I would probably try and predict that this was a sleeper hit. But I have been wrong so many times, I'm just gonna not make any
I mean,
predictions.
look, I really
No,
hope this is definitely gonna need word of mouth
yes,
to succeed, which sucks because I feel like it should do amazing that first weekend. It's a superhero movie. Yes,
I feel
you
like
could
it has
argue that
opened for like
superhero
2
movies are
weekends.
getting fatigued, but yeah.
Like it has some room here that I just feel like it could be good the first week, and then hopefully, Joe, with the word of mouth, more people going to see it,
That
and you get
second week
that
will go.
second week
Yeah.
legs of really. That's what I'm hoping for this
Plus,
film.
again, like you said, there's not a lot coming out, so like it's gonna have itself. Like there's because what's the next thing after? Like, because I don't think there's anything else coming out in August that's like, oh, this is definitely gonna be like
I'm assuming
destroying
there's
it.
something in Labor Day. That's what I'm assuming, that there's something big coming Labor Day. Like that's usually reserved for something.
See,
Uh,
yeah,
but
I'm
yeah,
not just looking at the Regal. There's not a lot come like I don't think there's really anything.
you also got to think too. Some of these films, like they could be holding, they could have been moved, they could have been there and they're moved because of this strike stuff. Still, that they we're getting to a point where they're starting to use up all their content. So we're gonna get closer and
Yeah,
closer to
so
that
if
point.
that's gonna
So
be the only film for a month, 2 months, like okay.
and yeah,
I mean,
I just
look at Elementals on for Disney. Like that first week, it bombed. It
yeah.
potentially bombed for them, but they just left it in theaters, and now after 2 months, it's finally making money because they kind of let it be.
Well, eventually, kids, what you
So
too, you're gonna get to the point where you're getting summer and kids are getting out. So then they get out and oh, let's go to the
correct.
mall today. Like, what can we do? Go to a film? Oh, let's go to this. So yeah, I
But you
we
also
got to
but it also opened up against the Flash.
yeah.
So people went and saw the Flash or didn't see the Flash, and then it's like, okay, well, there's nothing else coming out. I've already seen Spider Verse. I've already seen Indiana Jones. What else can I go see? Oh no, the Metals is out. That should be a fun hour and a half movie. Why not?
Yeah, like that's the thing. Like I hope we're just hoping that Blue Beetle does well, Joe. I would
Yeah.
love to see it.
End of the day, it's what we want.
Yeah, and we got a couple shots here from Blue Beetle. We got a new look at Jaime's family, which essentially looks like they're all making fun of him, which I love
Yeah.
that. That's family 100% there. And we got a really cool thing that I wanted to talk about, which was Angel Manuel Soto and the previous versions of Blue Beetle in the film. A lot of Ted's gadgets are important to the film, so being able to keep the idea of Ted and Dan Garrett in the movie and how that came to be does help Jaime understand what he's going through. Some of the people around him are fans of Blue Beetle. It's Jaime's story, but the context still exists. A lot of it was thought out, executed, and done with the intention of bringing someone back in the future.
I do like how they have a picture there of somebody.
Somebody, and that's not the person. When I didn't look at the picture, that's not the person I thought they were talking about first. I assumed they were
Oh,
talking
really?
about, yeah, I assumed they were talking about just another version of Blue Beetle, like Ted
I mean, I wouldn't say
Cord.
no to that either. Like
But
if you want to throw in Ted Cord, I'd be okay with that.
yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking, but I'm not sure if we'll get any hints of that character that we saw. We're not going to say the character because who knows? I don't want to give away any spoilers. And if you want to search out the article, it's not too hard to find. But I thought it was Ted Grant, and they are talking about some of their gadgets being used here, and I thought that was a super cool
Ted Cord, not Ted Grant.
Ted Cord. Sorry, Ted Cord. Sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Ted
I will
Grant's Wildcat.
take
We
her.
don't need
Yeah,
him in this movie.
no, not at all.
Well,
And I said
I would
Ted
say
Cord the
no to
first
him
time
in the
too,
movie.
which is yes, I will because I think we don't need him. I need Blue Beetle kicking ass. uh,
Fine, let's just get Yolanda back. Come on.
so
She wasn't a
Joe,
problem in Stargirl.
yeah, not at all. uh, so we're going into the DC news now, and it's reported that Skylar Gisando is reportedly the front runner to play Jimmy Olsen in Superman Legacy, according to My Time to Shine. He does look very Jimmy-like from the picture and the picture of him there and the picture of Jimmy.
Yeah.
Are you excited to see uh, Jimmy Olsen in this film?
I mean, I would just assume that he's in there. It doesn't have to be, but like if Jimmy's in there, that's awesome. Because I'll be honest, the Jimmy we got in the Snyderverse didn't do shit and got shot and killed.
He fucked up.
Um, he fucked up. So if they actually make Jimmy a cameraman, similar to what we have in My Adventures with Superman, I'm all for that. Like this guy, this actor Skyler, like I know him from like I've seen him and stuff, and I've enjoyed him, but that was when he was a lot younger.
Yeah.
So I don't know his older stuff. But he is a good actor from what I can remember. So I'm fine with it as long as they do it right. I'm there. I'm fine.
I'm going to pull it out. I don't know if it's a hot take, but I could care less, to be honest with you, about Jimmy Olsen in this film. And in general, I just don't really care about Jimmy Olsen. I didn't like him in the Christopher Reeve films. I wasn't a fan of him in the animated series.
He was great in Supergirl.
I definitely was not a fan of him in Supergirl and his big ego head. No, just I just don't care. I'd rather focus on Clark, Lois,
I meant Supergirl the movie, not
Perry.
the show.
Oh, I know. That's why I was
Okay,
saying, yeah, his big head, but he was big star in that film.
dating Lois' sister. Anyway,
Yeah.
totally
I
underage, but
don't care.
whatever.
I want to know. I want him to focus on Superman, Lois. I don't. I know you're bringing in parts of Daily Planet, but I just don't care. To be honest with you, I don't care about the character. It could be anybody taking pictures. I haven't seen much that's like besides Jimmy believing in Superman and Clark and some of the iterations I've seen. I don't. I know there was a My Pal Superman or My Adventures with Jimmy Olsen or some old comic. I've seen a few of them beating.
It's My Pal Superman.
Yeah,
There's been a few different
iterations of those.
older ones. Yeah.
Yeah.
I honestly like he doesn't have to be a big part of the show or the movie. Like if he is introduced and he has a couple lines, but he'll have a bigger part in the next movie or in the universe as a whole. Like him and Lois show up taking pictures because they were sent on assignment
Yeah.
to Midway City or something, or to
Or you could
Boston to
even
go
have
try to take a
you
picture
could
of
have a rumble in
somebody else.
Metropolis, and they show
Sure.
up.
Like if this character is here to establish he's Jimmy Olsen in this universe, and we will see him more, fine. I'm okay with that. Like that's
Also,
what I want.
I also want to say, maybe he'll win me over, and I'll love this Jimmy Olsen performance, and I'm in, and I'm okay with the character. That's the other thing. It's not gonna like that's not a. I'm not watching this. This is stupid. Why you putting Jimmy Olsen in? I don't really care about the character, but I am definitely willing. I didn't care about other characters, and I've been convinced to care about them from watching films. So
You know
I
what?
always go in with an open mind. I'm not going to be like, oh, Jimmy, I don't want to see you or anything. No, I will like take it in, but I just like I said, I'd rather see it be used for other characters. But I've also been won over before, so I'm not like I said, not going to rule out liking the character.
I was a fan of Jimmy in the Supergirl TV show. I thought he was really awesome, really cool. Up
Yes,
until
but
he became Guardian.
okay.
Then it was just like, why?
It's basically
Okay.
Batman. I remember one episode where he like pressed a button and went in the elevator and like his suit and jumped out in the bike. I'm like, okay, he's Batman now. And first of all, he doesn't
Yeah.
even own the building, so how's he installing all this? Just yeah. So, but yeah, I did like Jimmy Olsen in Supergirl. But I thought that was a
Yeah.
bit of a different portrayal than I've seen before.
It definitely
And
was
there you go.
yeah,
That was one that
different
won me over. That was one that I enjoyed. Whereas like Smallville's one was pretty exactly
Sure.
like what I thought.
Well, yeah. But I do love the Ashmores, both Aaron and Sean. So like the fact that they're both in here for two different things was great.
Yeah, I will agree with that. Joe, did you
Cool.
know that Blue Beetle's director pitched a solo Bane movie before Blue Beetle? He said,
Did not.
I wanted to pitch ideas, and one of them was the Bane origin story. I always thought that there was something interesting in exploring his reality and how a character like that comes to be. And then he said Warner Brothers made counter proposal. There's this character that we've been developing for a couple of years, the Blue Beetle, a Latino superhero, and he's like, "Stop right now, I'm in."
um, if so, my only concern is I don't want us to get like a Venom or a Craven or a Morbius with Bane. Bane is one of my like favorite characters of all time. So, and you could easily do an origin story and not make him a likable person because his origin isn't great.
No,
It's like Dark Knight Rises touches on it a little bit, but they changed it to make it work, and that's fine. I liked that interpretation of Bane.
I agree with you 100%.
We've gotten other interpretations in other mediums. Young Justice in Batman. Did he show up in animated series?
Yes, he did. It was awesome.
I couldn't remember. But then we also have like the Batman. Like each show has its own narration. That's fine. If you want to actually tell a true Bane origin story, which no movie, no interpretation is ever going to be true, but if you can keep the elements there and not have what we had in Batman and Robin, I'm all on board.
Same, Joe. Same. I just inject it into my veins, and not the. I think I vaguely remember like someone being made to Bane in Gotham. It was terrible.
I don't know.
But
like we were talking about that earlier, and
you gotta quit
season 4. So they did the Corvallis, and I'm like, this is not great.
No, it was not at all. James Gunn tweeted out, congrats to all the folks at DC officials, DC Comics, who won more Eisner Awards than any other comic publisher. The winning writers and artists include Best Short Story, Finding Batman by Kevin Conroy and Jay Bone, Best Single Issue One Shot, Batman One Bad Day, The Riddler by Tom King, Best Continuing Series, Nightwing by Tom Taylor and Bruno Redondo, Best Limited Series, The Human Target by Tom King, Best Writer, James Tynion IV for The Nice House on the Lake, The Sandman Universe, Nightmare Country, Best Penciler, Inker, and Penciler Inker Team, Greg Smallwood, The Human Target, Best Cover Artist for multiple covers, Bruno Redondo, Nightwing, and Best Coloring, Jordi Belair, The Nice House on the Lake, Suicide Squad, Blaze.
I need to read Nice House on the Lake. I've heard a few good things about it.
Man, that and The Human Target are things that I didn't check out. Probably going on the list.
Tom King is. I questioned him when he. Tom King's Nightwing was great. Tom King, Tom King was Grayson.
Sorry,
he did.
Yeah.
Tom King did Grayson.
Yeah,
great. Nightwing, same difference. Yeah. His Batman, I know people were like, "Oh, this is so bad." It was good. People didn't give it a chance.
Yeah.
I never did finish Batman, Catwoman. I've heard a few good things about it. I'll finish it eventually, maybe. We'll see. But I've heard, I read Mr. Miracle. That was amazing. I've heard Human Target is amazing. I want to check it out at some point. Tom King's a great writer.
Mm-hmm.
What was it? Superwoman or Supergirl, The Woman of Tomorrow. I questioned it in the beginning. I'm like, I don't know why I questioned this. It worked out in the end. It was amazing. It was a great book. So, yeah, Tom King is
basically both the Toms on DC, because that's the other one. That's the one that did the Nightwing too.
Tom Taylor's doing Nightwing right now.
Yeah,
and I'm still currently getting the single issues of that. And I think once Taylor gets off of Nightwing,
You're gonna get off.
It'll be questioning if I drop it. Nightwing's my favorite character. It's my
favorite my god,
character.
He's been doing really well.
Every Nightwing issue, all of them. Ooh. So, I had to spend some good money for issue number 1 way back when.
But it's worth that even better pretty penny now.
But probably. I definitely went out on that sale. So like, I don't know if I want to drop it, but we'll see. We'll see what
Yeah.
happens there. That's
So
a future Joe's problem.
yeah, I love that Future Joe's problem. So Joe, unfortunately, like you said before, but Zachary Levi, Shazam, uh, it's kind of come around. Zachary Levi says that he's still not been told if he's continuing as Shazam in the DCU. He says, "I don't know what the future holds because Fury of the Gods was not well received. I have no idea where we go from here," which is stark contrast from Gucci guys that he was saying before the film came out. Yeah, do you think we'll see him as Shazam ever again, and do you want to see him as Shazam?
I wouldn't say no to seeing him again. That ending, the mid credit scene hinted at it. Seeing him more in the future, I wouldn't be opposed to it, but at the same time, we don't need it.
No.
Like we don't need him. Like they could definitely get somebody else.
Yeah, you could get somebody with less, like I said, less
Baggage?
DCEU baggage. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Uh, I don't know.
But that also goes into contrast with, we're bringing literally everybody from Peacemaker over
yeah. Well,
because
not it was
there's not
usually
baggage there.
it's basically anyone James Gunn has worked with is coming back
Not,
over.
I
If
mean, not everyone, because
anyone that he's worked with has a chance to come back over. Sorry, I don't think there's
sure,
any
but
other
I don't think Margot
characters.
Robbie's coming over.
Oh, I wouldn't rule that out.
I wouldn't rule it out, but I don't think she is.
Ooh.
She's too. I mean, I'm not gonna say she's not like she's too popular, but
She's
Harley Quinn, like jumped her up in high profileness, and Barbie's just gonna add to it.
Yes, it's gonna cost a pretty penny, or she's gonna have a couple misses in a row before potentially getting her back, and maybe we'll have a new Harley Quinn cast by then. Maybe we'll get more Batman the Animated Series like Harley Quinn. I don't know. Uh, I'm
Eh,
excited to see what we get
maybe
for
we'll
some of
get
these.
Harley Quinn the animated series. Harley Quinn, that'd be fun.
Ooh, that would
Messed
be
up, but that'd be fun.
zany. So, Joe, like we said before, too, the Flash is selling like crazy on digital, earning #1 on all the charts.
Yeah,
So that's a
good for
pretty
that.
cool
Like that's
thing.
awesome. It sucks
Uh,
that it's this late in the game, but you know,
Yeah, it's like
it happens.
it's tough, but also DC has highlighted Superman's Brainiac arc among the other comics that inspired Superman Legacy. So, do you think that this is kind of a hinting indication that Brainiac is going to be the villain or the main villain of that film?
I mean, Brainiac has been teased since Nick Cage's Superman, so like it's. I wouldn't be opposed to it, and Brainiac's a great villain.
DC's stupid
Yeah,
enough to
I would
do
love to
this
see it.
too, though. Like where they would reveal it in a little like, here's what you should, or like here's what not reveal it, but most like let people go with it like this instead of like announcing this person has been cast as Brainiac. uh, they'll be like,
Yeah,
you should
it's
read
just
this."
read this. You never know what could come about. Like,
Main villain in the
now I
background,
know who the
Brainiac
villain is.
holding all the plan. Okay, I wonder where we're gonna go with this. Uh, so, like you were talking about with Nick
Zod. No,
Cage,
yeah,
uh, he he fondly spoke about his cameo in the Flash film. He said, "Well, I was glad I didn't blink. For me, it was a feeling of being actualized. Even that look of the particular character, finally seeing it on screen, was satisfying. But as I said, it's quick. Uh,
yeah.
that's essentially
I mean, it's
it. He
not
talked
super quick. It's like a minute.
no, and he talked about like if you watch City of Angels, you would have saw he was going to play as Clark Kent, and I never saw that film, so that's not.
It was. It's one I don't think about ever. Like I've seen it a couple times, um, and it was fine in the '90s. I don't know if it holds up. If I'm being honest,
Yeah, just I don't know. I was
it's
glad to
fine.
see it. I thought it was cool, but again, a lot of people I think it went over their head.
Yeah,
Uh,
I enjoyed his cameo. Like I was excited when I found out about it. Like my neighbor is the one that informed me it was happening. I'm like, are you kidding me? Like that's awesome. Like because and even when I was in theaters when it happened, I saw a couple people like recognize it immediately and
yeah,
be excited for it. So like it it was awesome. It was awesome to be in the theater and have that experience with people, and especially the ones who were in the know. You know, if you weren't in the know and you saw Nick Cage, you're like, "What the hell? Why?
That got nothing,
Why is
but
he there?"
there wasn't many people in my theater that, and they definitely didn't know about that. I don't think they were like most of them
Yeah,
were younger. Uh,
that's fair.
the final thing here, Joe, in our news, DC reveals first look at Aquaman 2 prequel story. So, classic with DC, they're going to do a prequel story to basically catch you up on the events in between films 1 and 2. It says, discover the shocking events that connect the smash hit Aquaman movie to the eagerly anticipated Aquaman and the Last Kingdom. Aquaman balances his duty as king and as a member of the Justice League, all while planning a wedding. Black Manta is on the hunt for Atlantean tech to help rebuild his armor. Orm plots to escape his Atlantean prison. 3 action-packed tales crammed in one singular special.
Okay.
And the
I
prequel
never did
comic
read
was
the Flash one.
that one was okay. The
Yeah.
prequel comic here was written by Tom Seeley, Joey Esposito, and Ethan Stacks, and will
Okay.
store shelves on October 31st. So yeah, that's I'll check it out for sure. Maybe we'll talk about it here.
Yeah, I mean, if it shows up on the DC Universe Infinite Ultra manga, whatever,
That probably
uh,
should, because it'll be promoting the film. You think that they would?
I believe the Flash one came out like day and date.
Yeah,
Uh, I
which
could be
that's
wrong.
always what you want to do, to promo it instead of doing
Yeah,
it like the
I
week
could be wrong.
before.
I could just stuck with the month after, but yeah, if it pops up in there, I'll read it. But I'm not gonna like search out for it. Probably.
So, Joe, let's take our final ad break of the evening before we end off with some Superman stuff. My adventures with Superman and Smallville retro recaps. So, listeners, we're an ad-supported network. We don't pick the ad or the volume. Can you do a quick 3 count to adjust your volume? And we'll be right back in 3, 2, 1. And we're back. Okay, Joe. We have a episode of My Adventure with Superman here, where Lois has found out about Clark's identity, and it takes the full episode for it to come to a head. What do you think about this episode?
I feel bad for Jimmy
Yeah,
because he became Steve, which sucks.
I love
Um,
Steve though. I love Steve in this episode. I don't know
I
why. I just laugh,
I
especially when he was revealed as the
realized
guy that was like saying
I
Jimmy was
realized
wrong with
that
him.
like immediately. I realized that immediately that that was Steve Lombard being the nah guy. And then once they actually started they went to the one place to record, and he starts in on the video. I'm like, oh, he's definitely the nah guy. But as for Lois and Clark and Superman and that whole tale, um, it sucks, especially there at the end when it does get revealed, and she's just like, "You lied to me. You've been lying to me this whole time. Like, I can't believe you couldn't trust me." Um, yeah, yeah. I enjoyed it. I did enjoy it. Seeing Deathstroke was awesome. Looked great.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And the fact that it is tech, like all of the tech that they have been acquiring is in his suit is whew,
It's
awesome.
wild, and we'll talk with it.
But yeah, again,
we'll get in
yes.
deep with the action scene.
But again, I feel bad for Jimmy because at the very end, when he's supposed to go Bigfoot hunting with Lois and Clark, they bailed on him. Which
and it looks like he gets attacked by Grodd. If I'm being honest, that would be my guess
yeah, like a
there for that
giant gorilla.
giant
So it's
gorilla.
a good possibility. What do you think of it?
Yeah, I enjoyed this. I like I told you before, there was some outrageous on Twitter about people complaining about Lois's reaction to Superman Clark keeping the secret, and I'm like, yeah, she's mad that he's lying to her. I don't think that's a bad reaction. I've seen that people have that reaction in Smallville, in other forms of media as well that they've done. So sometimes there's a different reaction, but I really enjoyed this. I loved how she forced his hand at the very end too. She pulled a Mary Jane from Spider-Man the animated series. If anyone who knows about that knows about that, and that's
Yeah,
also not actually Mary Jane. That is
it
the
was Hydro Man or something,
water
wasn't it?
Hydro Man clone
Yeah,
of Mary
that
Jane.
was
So
weird. That's
yeah,
around the time I stopped watching that show. I'm like, what the hell's going
I
on
never
here?
stopped watching, Joe. I never stopped watching, but season 5 was fantastic. They
What
had
do I keep hearing? I need to check it out.
7-episode story arc with Captain America in there, and then
Clone
Captain
Saga. I
America was
need
in
the
there
Clone Saga thing.
twice. So
Yeah, honestly, her being upset fits with this version of Lois.
yeah, and
Like
also
the
like sorry, Clark.
no,
Clark was scared because the previous episode, Lois was like, "I'm going to find out who Superman is and reveal his secrets," and like basically said she's going to take him to task and tell everybody about him.
yeah,
So
he was about ready to reveal it to her, and then she
yeah,
like unloads this thing, which is why I think I personally like season 4 or episode 4 is still my favorite of the season.
hmm
This episode was good.
this had the best
Season
action.
4, episode 4 is better.
This
Yeah,
had the best
great
action.
action,
But you're right.
great
I
action.
agree. I agree with you as well. That especially the moment where she figures out at the end of the episode. I love that.
Yeah,
So this was a bit. I didn't like the like whatever we could be, and then took off. I hope that changes before the end of the season. But I did
which is
like the whole thing
This
here.
week, we only
Yeah,
got one. We got one episode left.
yeah, and it's only 20 minutes, and Jimmy's in trouble. So
Yeah,
and it'll be ultimate Steve if they don't even go after him this episode. We'll get him in
I
season
think
2.
it's going to be one of those things where like Clark will get home, realize that Jimmy's not home, be like, oh no, the trip, and like go searching for him, and then find out he's missing, and then obviously get a hold of Lois, and they're gonna go look for him.
Yeah, that's probably what'll mend to them to go out to look for him. So I enjoyed this. Like I said before, we'll get into the battle now because I love this. Superman faces off first with a terrible version of Heatwave, and then we get, like
Yeah.
Joe said before, Deathstroke. We get Slade Wilson coming in, and this Deathstroke, I enjoy the look of this Deathstroke. That was totally badass, and he comes with all the stuff we've seen from the red power. Like it's wild what he's going with, and he has robots as well. Robots helping him,
Yeah.
and the general. There's a little tiny clip of the general. Like Superman has a memory of the general at the day he was crashing, and the
hmm
general like remembers who doesn't remember who Superman is. I don't think, but
He knows he sees Superman as an alien threat
yeah,
because he, like you said, he was there according to Clark's visions when his ship crashed, and he looked concerned. So he knows Superman is an alien. He thinks he's here to invade, and so yeah, he's in his eyes, everything he's doing is for the betterment of the people. So when Superman and Deathstroke are fighting, and the Deathstroke or like cuts the bridge, and the bridge starts falling apart, and Superman is there getting ready to fix it. Waller's like, "You got a perfect shot. Take the shot." And the general's like, "No, belay that order. There are civilians involved. Like, get out of here. Just
yeah,
we'll
and
find another way."
she's like, well, the next 0 hour event, people will thank you for saving a busload of kids. So I like that, Joe. I really did. It was interesting to me. I do think that I ultimately think, depending on how long the show goes, I think General just might have sealed his fate because I think Waller's going to rise to the top, and Skipper, who worries about civilians, is not going to last very long in this job profession. So I could totally
Well,
see Waller taking his place because she listens to him. He even said, "Who's in charge of this, me or you?" So I think that
yeah,
might be laying some seeds of him getting replaced down the road. Because they open this up to him and Superman potentially seeing eye to eye on, at the very least, saving civilians. So that's what I got from that as well. I was like, and he was channeling
well,
his
and
inner
the
guy
thing
from
is,
Invincible. What's his name in Invincible? The guy who runs the league. I can't remember his name now. Oh my god, Skeletor face.
the
Like
immortal.
no,
Oh, Skip.
the old
Oh, 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 oh.
I can't.
Wait. No,
No, I can't remember his name now. The guy who
Quinn.
uh
No,
the guy who ran the whole show that Omni Man would like talk to at
Wayne.
times. He used to use a
Yeah, I know
transporter.
who you're talking about. I can't remember his name now.
I can't remember his name. It's driving me crazy. But yeah, he reminded me of him a little bit in the face.
Well, I was gonna say the general himself is a character in DC, obviously, General Wade Ealing,
Yeah.
and he becomes a uh, kind of like I don't want
Half
to say
Hulk.
Doomsday esque, sort of like
Yeah, I
he. Oh,
remember.
there.
Yeah,
Oop,
they
there we go.
even had him turn into something like that in Justice League Unlimited.
Yeah, he was also in
That was
Flash.
after
He was in a bunch of different.
That was after Batman basically did the most humiliating thing I've ever seen happen to a general in cartoon, which was bitch slap him across the table and flip him over. It was wild. And then
Mhm.
he just sat down and then
Yes.
he just stood up and had a chat with Amanda Waller. I'm like, okay, this is you sit in the corner, General. Uh, it was
Yeah,
awesome though.
basically.
So yeah, I'm really enjoying. Season is 10 episodes, not 6. Season finale isn't until the end of
What?
August. We thought it was only 6 episodes. Mr. Mixie Picklick
Yeah.
is coming in here to drop some knowledge on us. Thank you so
Thanks,
much.
Mixie.
That's uh, that's
Now,
great news for
see,
us,
I'm
Joe.
actually happy for that because I thought it was. Yeah, we thought it was 6, and it was gonna be like, all right, cool. So 6 episodes is what we're gonna do. If it's 10 episodes,
It makes more
hell yeah,
sense because
I'm
I
happy
don't know
with it.
how they would wrap up everything in 20 minutes. So uh, that's exciting. And like I said, the
Well, that's
action
what
was
the season
great.
finale.
Cliffhanger,
It's a
yes.
season finale. You know, it's a cliffhanger. Yeah.
But like I said, I love the action here. This was the best action of the whole season so far, and everything with Lois and Clark, I'm loving so far. So give me more of that. I love this interpretation of Lois. She's so feisty. I just like
Yeah.
she even punched the guy, punched one of the bad guys, and then Superman goes in and reaches his arm. I just love that she knew who Superman was the entire time. Yeah, so that was a fun episode, Joe. I'm excited for the next episode.
Yep. Same.
So let's wrap things up here, Joe, with our retro recaps. The last episode of the last episode of Clark's Rampage, or Freedom, season 3, episode 2, Phoenix.
What's up, Chris? You come right at the end.
Right at
Sorry,
the end,
bud.
Chris. Perfect time for the Smallville retro recaps, and we're talking about Phoenix, where the big thing in this episode is obviously the Clark and Jonathan fight. I remember watching this and thinking this was so cool. Time it aired. Do you remember
Yeah.
watching this, Joe, as like
I
day of or night of?
yeah. I watched when this show was airing. I was there
Yeah,
every time watching it. I vaguely remember the fighting. I vaguely remember the caves. I do remember Lex returning and confronting what's her name, Helena. Yeah.
Helena. Yep.
Um, and that whole thing going down. Um, I sort of remembered the Morgan Edge stuff,
I didn't
like
remember
when
that at
he shows
all.
up and
Completely forgot that was a different time and
well, like I
place.
said, I
And
sort of remember. As soon as I saw him last episode, it like triggered in my mind.
yeah,
But yeah, I mean honestly, it was a whatever episode.
these have been
I've got a
two
feeling.
okay episodes. They've been two okay
Yeah,
episodes, like
I was
which you don't want to start off your season.
no, I got a feeling this season isn't gonna be their best, but I could be completely wrong because I don't remember. Honestly, I don't remember a lot of this season. I remember the finale because I remember, and we'll get to it when we get to it. But like I remember the whole um Chloe dying, air quotes
Yeah,
dying thing.
yeah,
Um because that is what brings us Lois Lane in season
and
4.
yeah, she does the investigating,
So
trying to
like
find her, and yeah,
yeah.
that
Uh
was season
yeah,
4 is
no,
when
we'll
we'll
get
cook
there.
too. Season 4 is when
Yeah.
we'll cook because
So
I love
this
Lois.
season I'm sure we're gonna have a bunch of repeats. I feel like there's a bunch of like returning guests for a thing. Um but like I don't recall a lot from this season.
I
And
liked
this like I said, these first 2 episodes were meh.
some of the things I did like was Clark having to do the give the blood sample to save his parents. I loved how he threatened Morgan Edge first and then uh uh back down to him once his parents were being threatened. And I really loved
Yeah.
how it was just a random gunfight that took Morgan Edge out. And just conveniently, when someone finds out Clark's secret, essentially you should purchase life insurance on those people because they're not going to last much time in this
Nope.
Smallville universe.
They if you're not somebody in the opening credits, you are gone if you find out Clark's secret.
100%. You don't have much time in this. And as for Tocqueville, I watched that and it was okay. There wasn't a lot on the Jonathan and Clark fight. I was hoping to get a little bit more. There's a good interview with Helena, the actress who played Helena on this. This was her last episode. And the one thing I did learn was she was the 9th most recurring guest actor on the show.
Really?
Yes, in the 10 seasons. So
That's
that was pretty cool. Yeah, so that she was enjoyable and she was quite the prankster apparently. So yeah, it was a
good.
interesting listen, but I I'm excited to go on to see some other things in this season. Okay, Joe, I think that
Yeah.
pretty much wraps up the episode. This was a fun little chat about Blue Beetle, getting me pretty hyped. It's going to be, what is it, 18 days now? Well, 17 days for you and I until we see Blue Beetle.
Yeah, I need to go get my ticket still.
Same. I don't have mine, but as like I said earlier, I watched The Flash with a small amount of people. I watched Shazam with nobody.
Yeah.
This is not a rough time for watching superhero films and films in theater here. So, Joe, I will see you next week, and listeners will see you next week for more DC goodness. Later, everyone.
Bye, y'all.